The Hawks say they've obtained 68 statements in relation to the burglary at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala Phala farm. The unit's head, Godfrey Lebeya, made the comments during an update on high-priority cases. Well, he joins us now in studio for more on this and other matters. Lieutenant General, good evening. Thank you so much for your time in Newzroom Afrika studios tonight.
Good evening to you and your listeners.
I suppose right off the bat then, let's deal with the big issue of the day, which is, of course, the one that you would have seen a lot of interest from the media about, even in a briefing earlier on today. 68 statements collected in relation to Phala Phala. When are we expecting this case to be concluded?
The investigation is a systematic search for the truth. You do not always know when you approach a witness what the witness is going to tell you. And you shall not consider yourself to have completed until you have followed what that witness is saying. So at this stage, we can't say how many other witnesses we are going to get, because each witness provides what he or she understands. Previously, only one statement was made public by the complainant who have provided it to the media. But the rest of the statements are actually in the docket. Only the investigation team and the prosecutors knows what is contained in the docket and what need to be obtained further. So they sit on a regular basis on what we call case planning, which indicate what is that which they need to obtain until they can say that we are now satisfied that every stone that needed to be turned has been turned. We can now make a decision.
At the time that this investigation started, we were told that it would be treated with a certain level of urgency. And the expectation then, of course, is that it's not going to take years and years to investigate, especially given the fact that it involves the #1 citizen of this country. There must be deadlines and timeframes within which you're working in as far as you're trying to get to the truth.
Yes, I think that as I have indicated, you do not always know what is going to be contained in the statements of the people that you are approaching. And the nature of the statements that you obtain is unlike when you just get an assault statement. There are complicated matters that you have got to be thinking, what type of law are we dealing with here? And what elements need to be contained? Have all those elements been covered? So that you are not obtaining statement and thereafter you find that you need to go back to those people that you have previously interviewed. So we have got senior officers, experienced officers that we have put in this matter to ensure that the work is done professionally.
So,
I have got an advocate.
So you haven't given them a deadline?
We don't give a deadline and say that by this date you must have completed. If you give a deadline, it means that even if they have not completed, they must respect your deadline. And as you know, as I have indicated, we do not always know what a witness is going to say. If you read in the media statement, some of the people that are commenting, they will be making certain insinuation, but we will not indicate as to whether those insinuations are true or false. Only the statements under oath are the ones that shall indicate. So we don't want to jump some of the information that is being given to us.
So how long will we be waiting?
We cannot put timelines. The moment we complete all the witnesses that have been brought to our attention, we will indicate.
So what I'm asking, General Lebeya, is that is there a likelihood that next year this time we could be having this conversation and this investigation will still be underway?
No, I do not believe that by next year, November, we will be discussing this matter. I believe that it shall have been finalized. And I think that within the country, you know that there are laws that we follow. If we need to get information from certain institutions, there are certain processes that have to be followed so that whatever we get is in line with the law. And if it has to serve before court, it shall be admissible. Otherwise, it won't help to just get things that are going to be inadmissible when you go to court. You have to get them in a legitimate way.
What are the categories of crime that you are actually investigating that are linked to Phala Phala?
Obviously, you shall have read the statement from the complainant. That is a starting point. From the statement of the complainant, he would suggest that contravention of certain laws have taken place. But obviously, I wouldn't like to venture into that because most of the content will say, I have heard or it has been brought to my attention. And that become part of the evidence that when you are in court, it is called hearsay. And the hearsay become only admissible once you get confirmation. So we have got to be approaching those that are mentioned to be the source of the information.
And that's precisely why I asked that question, because there's so much that has been left to the realm of speculation that it will be important to know from an investigative body like the Hawks, what exactly is it that you're looking into?
Yeah, you see, when we conduct an investigation, we don't put a charge sheet. A charge sheet will be determined by all the facts. So when we interview witnesses, we get all the facts about what they know about the incident. So the elements will then become apparent, which will assist in determining what charges could be put before whoever is alleged to have committed them. So you don't decide that I'm only going to investigate contravention of the Immigration Act as an example. You investigate what activities are said to have taken place, and thereafter you unpack the elements. Does this act constitute a crime? And if it constitutes a crime, what elements do I then need to prove that?
The 68 statements that you have, does that mean that so far you have 68 witnesses that you have interviewed?
Each statement obviously have to have a witness. You can't just produce a paper when nobody is going to talk to that paper.
Let's talk then about the fact that you're doing this work alongside other cases that you're investigating. As the Hawks, that is really an institution operating at half of its capacity, if we look at the vacancy rate that you're dealing with. Yeah,
we have indicated that we have now passed the halfway mark. We are now at 52%. Yeah, you see that even if it is a student, when the one got 48%, the other one got 52. We still encourage the one that got 52 that you have done better. We have increased that, and we are still continuing to recruit others. As we speak, the officers are busy selecting those who shall have applied for the 209 posts that we advertise, and we shall be appointing 5 senior managers on the 1st of December. On the 1st of January, we shall again be appointing other 3. And it continues in that fashion. We will soon be advertising other posts externally because we are also looking at the expertise, not from within the SAPS alone, but the expertise that we might get outside the institution.
What have you found to be the most difficult thing about drawing talent to an institution like yours?
There are areas where we have tried to recruit certain individuals, but I think that wherever they might be employed, it seems that they are comfortable. Some might be the level of remuneration when you really need those killed individuals. Some can't be leaving their institutions. And we also rely on those that are from school, but those who shall have to be training. So I think that there are skills that is a competition out there, financial skills. Those individuals, you find that some companies go to the university to go and recruit, they even pay the school fees. So obviously that is the area where at times it becomes difficult to attract them. But we are working on that.
Are you finding that you've been able to shake off the perception that individuals within the organization who want to do the right thing can fall victim to harassment and to being pushed out of the institution, especially if they find themselves working on politically linked or even associated cases? Because that's part of the reason why we've been told as a country that the Hawks is sitting in this position in the first place, that there were people that were effectively hounded out of the institution.
A number of those that were hounded out of the institution, when I came in, I went to look for them and I brought them back. Part of those you may have heard about Lieutenant General Musibi. He was in charge of the serious commercial crime before he was removed and sent to the greater service. You have got the likes of Major General Moodley, who was also out of the DPCI into the greater service. You have the one that I have put in charge of government fraud, Matrus, that was also out of the organization. A number of those officials that have got experience in the complicated investigation, we got them back. So since I've taken over the office, all the members understand that we have got to conduct our work without fear, favor, or prejudice. And nobody is going to interfere with their work. There is a judge that is available. We do not have got to go and form queues at court to access a judge if there is a threat that somebody else wants to interfere with the work. Even the members of the public who feel that we are not executing our assignment as expected in terms of the law, the judge is available. You don't have to go and form queue at court where you might even want to be paying lawyers. This is the available judge at our disposal. So I'm comfortable that the members, the investigators are safe, and they understand that. They do their work properly.
One of the criticisms that you get as an institution is around the investigation of commercial crimes. And it's quite ironic because when one looks at the breakdown of the arrests that you've been able to make with the period that you were reporting back on, a significant chunk of that is related to commercial crimes. So where is the disconnect? Are you finding that you're able to arrest people? Are there problems with conviction rates? Why is there this view that we simply don't have the capacity when it comes to commercial crimes or even organized crimes, as Shamila Batoyi told Parliament just a few weeks ago?
The numbers that we have put forward speaks for themselves. Nobody should actually be interpreting them differently. I think that the majority of cases that have got quick arrest, are in the serious organized crime space because they are not as complicated as a commercial crime. Commercial crime are complicated. When you investigate a commercial crime case, you expect that you should be looking at 64 Acts of Parliament as well as common law offenses. And to identify the elements of this, you really need to be having that understanding. We have got a lot of these matters on the court roll. We have put more than 12,000 accused persons at court. So these individuals did not walk and say that we now want to be at court. it is based on the investigation that have been done. You can see the number of people from other institutions that would like to come and recruit from us. If we had no experience, they were not going to want to come and poach in the DPCI. We believe that the members are well trained, of course. The number of the official might be the ones that shows that there is a delay in finalizing the matters.
Where does this leave some of the matters that were referred to the Hawks by the Zondo Commission? It is a big sticking point that, you know, we've had this commission take place for years, a period during which you had all the right to investigate matters, and yet the prosecution rate around some of those cases is non-existent. If you look at some of the reports that have been done by others, including Open Secrets, basically it suggests that there have been little convictions directly related to investigations that came out of the Zondo Commission of Inquiry.
The investigation coming from the state capture report has been released recently. And if you look at the complicated nature of those investigations, even the time that the commission have taken to investigate, now the investigation that we do must prove what we are alleging beyond reasonable doubt at court. It's not like you'll do in a civil case. Already you shall have seen the arrests that have been done in September. I have placed 14 investigators. It was actually 15 investigators at the ID within the NPA to assist in investigating those cases. I have, from my side, put aside 22 investigators led by a brigadier to deal with those matters that are within the DPCI emanating from the State Capture Commission. Already we shall have indicated that we effected arrests in the Northwest on matters that are in the state capture. You shall have noted that even before the release of the state capture report, arrests were already effected. And I think some of the people were complaining, why are you arresting the Bosasa individuals before they finalize the testimony? You shall have seen those in the Free State that we shall have arrested that are referred to in the State Capture Commission. So I think that should be fair to the investigators. Let's check and say that, are we saying that nothing has been done?
I think the question goes even beyond nothing being done, is that when something is done, I mean, is there solid evidence to ensure that these cases can secure convictions?
That is why you'll find that when you do the investigation, you don't have to take shortcuts. Because if you do take shortcuts, those will be exposed at court. And that is where you run a risk of getting an acquittal. I have indicated the conviction rate that we get more than 90%. So we are losing very few cases. And of course, you don't want to get 100% in all the cases. The system might not be fair.
So the problem then becomes what? That it takes long to be able to investigate the cases.
When the cases are, it takes long to finalize the investigation. And once the cases are on the court roll, there are processes that at times delay. I was indicating an example of a case that was committed in 2011, arrest effected in 2016, conviction secured only in this quarter, where a sentence was meted out. So you have these cases that dragged longer, but we are not losing them when they are at court.
All right. Lieutenant General Godfrey Lebeya, let me thank you so much for coming into studio.